Hi, I'm Alistair, and in this video we'll be covering how to modularize workflows into subprocesses. This is important as workflows start to get more complex, allowing them to be broken down into reusable parts. We're going to begin by starting a new workflow called Tutorial 5. Then we're going to create two participants. These can be dragged in from the palette on the left. Participants act as separate processes within the same BPMN file. And also note that clicking the overall canvas, you can see that it's now called a collaboration. We're going to expand the general section and rename this to Tutorial 5. The participants also need to be individually named. So we'll click on the top one and change the participant name to be main. And the ID to be main also. The process ID needs to be called __main__. This naming scheme is necessary to signal which participant is the one to run by default. We'll also set the process name to be main. Now we'll name the second participant. We're going to call this subactivity, and we're going to set the process ID and name to be subworkflow. Now we're going to populate the main participant. We'll drag in a start and an end event and connect them together. We're going to name the start event start main. We'll name the end event end main. Now we'll add a user task a bit off to the left. And we'll name this user form. We'll open the form editor, create an element, set the object name to be query, and the display name to also be query. We'll save that, and now we'll add another task to the right of this user form. We'll name this call subworkflow. Now we'll click the spanner and change the task type to be call activity. A call activity is a type of task that allows you to call a different process within the same BPMN file. For example, in this one, we're going to call the subactivity. If we expand the called element section of the call activity task, we can see a process ID. We'll set this to be subworkflow. If we click the second participant, we can see that the process ID we set was subworkflow. Therefore, we'll just be calling this. Now we want to populate the second participant. We'll drag in a start and an end event. We'll name this start subworkflow, and we'll name the end event end subworkflow. Now we'll add a script task between them called user script. And we'll join these up. We'll go into the script, open the script editor, and set the script to be this. This just sets a variable called answer to this string and gets the query that the user inputted from the form data. We'll save this, save the workflow, and run it. Once we've got to the query, I'm just going to enter hello world. It's ran all the way through, and now we can just step through and see how the data ran through the workflow. If we click Start Main, we can see that it's the first task to be executed. Next, the user input was fetched and put into the task data. Then, if we click Start Subworkflow down here, we can see that this started next, after being called by the call activity task. Then it went to the user script, and if we expand the task data, we can see our answer. Then it went through to the end, and finally back to the call subworkflow task after it finished executing. If we click End Main and expand the task data, we can see that the answer is also there. This shows how the data flows through the workflow, going into the subworkflow and coming back out. That's all for tutorial 5. In the next tutorial, I'll show you how to call a separate BPMN file as a subworkflow.